Hello everybody, welcome into the stream. Looking forward to today. We got a VFR flight planned through England. We're barely VFR. We have minimal VFR conditions at the moment. It's gone quite overcast, but I think we're still able to do it. We are IFR rated, so if we need to, we can do a bit of instrument flying. I also have a new yoke to try out, so we'll be trying it out today, and I'll be doing a review on that in a separate stream or video. So if you enjoy that sort of stuff, then yeah, you might want to watch it. But in general, it's really good. There's a switch here on the control to look around the plane, which makes it a lot easier. Unfortunately, there's no throttles with it just yet, so we'll have to make do with a bit of manual control there. Let's hop in. Now, I did say we're going to do a full checklist. It's a bit different to my usual jet flights. I thought it'd be nice to just hop back in the propeller aircraft and do some flying. We were meant to go from, I'll show you where we are actually on the map. We're in Cambridge. So the plan was to go from Cambridge, just in the southeast or south northwest, wherever, which part of London you're in, it'll depend. When we're going south, we're going all the way to Bath. It's about an hour and 20 minutes. The idea was VFR with no intention to go anywhere, but of course with that sim we have to follow the flight plan. So the end goal is Bath, but in the meantime we can look around. I don't think we're going to be restricted to a certain path. For example, we have got one filed, like I say, but I don't think they're going to want us to follow it if we get in contact with them. In terms of like visual departures, we're on the VFR chart. There's not really much around here to use for reference. Usually I'll give you a reference, landmarks. So if you look around here, so these are VFR references for the ATC and for the pilots, but Cambridge doesn't seem to have them. I can't see them at least, so let's get online. Let's get started. So cool thing is I can either have, obviously if I have the yoke on, we can see the movement. It's as you can see, very effective, and it also has switches. We don't have to switch down here manually, but the control we can either have it on so we can see the movement, which I like to do that, or if we turn it off, that I guess that gives us the feeling of us being in control instead of the aircraft being flown by itself, sort of thing. Anyway, welcome in. This is the actual usual time for this stream, thankfully. I usually stream about 1/2 3 times a week, and it'd be in a jet aircraft usually, but today it's Cessna again. So I'm going to do the iOS before we get started on the flight planning things, and before we get prepared to go, we need to do the pre-flight. So we've already got a cruising altitude 3036 kg of fuel, which is not a lot. Let's just check something on the VATSIM. Yeah, so fuel 36. We've got considerably more than that inside. We've got 316 kg in payload and about 48 kg of fuel. So it's really not much at all. Is required. We've got more than we need. Cargo 44. Let's turn that up. So it'll make us a little bit rear heavy. As you can see, the aircraft was tipping up there. So we do need to keep an eye on that weight and balance. As you see, it's moving towards the center. Sorry, the rear. Payload 282. We're kind of a little bit over because we've got pilot, co-pilot. Basically, these three are passengers. We're a single pilot aircraft, but the co-pilot's been taken up by passengers. So there's 3 passengers and the pilot. That makes sense for the weight and balance, which is pretty much it. Let's go ahead and get on the network and get our aircraft started. So, do I want to use a proper checklist? Well, we can use this and just sort of go through the list. Briefly, we can't interact with much on the default one, so we just have to assume it's been done. Yeah, let's assume all the maintenance has been done. PDO's removed. We've got our air certificates for worthiness. Magnetos. Let's turn the yoke off so you can see what we're doing. Master switch. That would be the battery master switch, so we turn that on. Avionics, bus 1 and 2 coming on. Verify primary flight display. Fuel quantity is good. Verify low fuel enunciation. Yes, I think that's just gone off. I can't see any low fuel warning. I can see an oil pressure, but that's about it. Avionics, low vacuum. Let's check. So we got low vacuum, yes. Yes, all them functional. Avionics off. Avionics fan. Well, I don't know how to do that. Avionics 2 off. Pitot heat. Let's turn it on and assume we can feel it. Master switch coming off. Alternate static air. Trim controls. Take off position. Yes. Fuel shut off. Both pushed in. Fuel shut off. Both is like that. Straight ahead. Fire extinguisher verified. We got it on board underneath the seat somewhere. Hobs recorded and AROW checked. Well, we checked what we needed to when we were in the office before departing. G1000 reference guide. Okay, let's go back to the checklist. It's quite a good checklist. They've laid it out pretty well. Before starting, so we've already got up to before starting checklist. Let's get the master switch back on and the avionics so we can get in contact with the ATC. Okay, I'm not going to follow. I think I'm going to change my mind about the checklist. It's going to take. I mean, it's very basic. I don't want to rush through it, but it's very basic and there's not much to it. I already know these and the starting procedure again. We can't really do it on an aircraft that's not modelled fully. So let's go into the network. So we did have controllers a second ago. We have London Northwest Centre 135.5. Now, hopefully you can hear this. Let me just check the sound again. So I had some issues before with my sound drivers. So here's the yoke I'm using, but now it's coming up with no sound drivers. So this happened. I think this may be an X Plane update issue, but it requires starting the game or restarting the game because I've switched aircraft whilst I had the game on. And not quit, and it's just going up to now no sound driver. Now that could be a yoke issue as well. It's really quite hard to tell, so you'll have to bear with me while I at least try and restart this. I think there's a way to put like a saver, a screensaver on so you don't have to watch it. Let me try that. Okay, so we go to File, Quit X Plane. Again, apologies about this. What we'll do is we'll reconnect and hopefully the sound drive is back, but that seems to be an issue. It's either an X Plane 12.2 issue, although I've not noticed it before, or it's a yoke specific issue which is affecting the sound drivers, but again I don't see why that would be an issue. Simple spawning. Well, first of all, let's check the settings. Sounds. So it's coming back up now as sound working. So obviously there's something there with switching aircraft without restarting the game, so that's a shame. And I think the YouTube stream, yeah, so the stream won't show you my desktop, it'll just show the game, thankfully. Relatively easy to spawn back in. Let's just switch all the lights back off on avionics. Okay, batteries, don't need the alternator. Let's get tuned in again, finally. So the sound has come back and it should be on Prism Live. So I want to reconnect to 5. I think Centre may have just gone offline. That's unfortunate. For Northwest of London. And they're back on. So 135.580. Thanks for bearing with me, everybody. If anyone's had that sound drive issue before, then comment, tell me what it is, if you know the answer.
Say again for 404 Yankee, please.
Okay, fantastic. London Northwest. I think they do cover us north. I mean, Northwest is up that way, so it might not. Let me just check the radar. It's great to be flying in the propeller one of the Cessna 172. Yeah, so it doesn't seem like it's going to cover us. It's covering, Northwest is covering up near Manchester and Blackpool and the lakes, so that'd be the Lake District as well. That's unfortunate, but we got a flight plan. We could just do it over the Unicom, and we'll wait for anyone to come online in the area. Okay, what I'm going to do is prepare for start. Let's get the beacon light on. Let's get the, as you can tell, the quality of the graphics significantly improved as well. We want the avionics off for the engine start, and I'm going to use the Yoke's built-in magneto switch. Fantastic for the 172. It's pretty much customized as you would expect it, minus the bus 2 switch, but I'll talk about that in the review. Okay, what do we need? We need to advance that throttle a little bit and get the magneto on. Okay, avionics coming back on, and we're going to stick in these kind of conditions. So we're going to a good way to check it, flight configurations, so VFR broken, or you can check on a variety of sources anyway. We need the QNH 1017. It usually says it up here, so it would say like Cavok, for example, or VFR. Usually say it there somewhere. Can't see it. It's somewhere down here, but maybe I'm not reading it correctly. Okay, 122 decimal 8. And bearing in mind, I have got to use my keyboard as well. There we go. Let's just mute them. I'm going to customize it. Actually, I'm going to use the autopilot switch. Push the torque button. ATC. So you got X Pilot. You can only toggle the window on that one. Let's do X Pilot. And push the torque. Now hopefully that should do it. Yeah, fully functional. So the autopilot disconnect is now the speak button. Oops. I'm going to stick nav lights on as well, just because it's bad visibility. Alternators on. Crank that up a little bit so we don't lose voltage. Squawk, we can squawk VFR. Today we're on a VFR flight, so let's get the transponder on. And we do need to align, well, it's aligned itself, but you sometimes you need to align. I think they may have done that in the updates, changed that, but it has aligned itself this time. Okay, let's check the map. Now I want to try and avoid using that. I have got the flight plan, we might as well program it in while I can. LPMA LGKR, and it's not popped up. So X Plane downloads, SimBrief integration would be great. A nice online connection there, like the Zebra mod. FMS plans, and then just paste it in. Okay, so now technically if we go off and back on, it should come back on. Yep. Let's enter that. And we're going to fly that route pretty much up to a maximum, I think, 3,000. Any higher and we would intercept ATC. So we want VNAV profile and 3,000 feet with target altitudes. We're not going to climb very fast. We can climb, I don't know, 500 feet a minute, I'd say. Not initially, of course, but 500 feet is a good aim. Okay, push to clear. And the route has come up indeed there for Cambridge to Bath. I'm very dry, everybody. So I'm going to take a moment there, just quick drink, be right back. Alright, let's continue. Much better. Check the active runway using the X Plane. We won't cheat and use that sim because it's never accurate. So runway 23 for departures and 23 left. I mean, we could take 23 left. We've only got a Cessna 172, so we'll be taxiing. We get quite a nice airport Cambridge is. We're on the grass parking at the moment, so we'll have to taxi forward to where we're going to get. How do we get there? So we taxi Juliet, and then it looks like uniforms across the grass, and then we backtrack runway 23 left. Let's just keep an eye on that. Note it down on my notes. So we want Juliet uniform to runway 23 left. Taxi lights. Yeah, they're on. We should really check outside and have a visual. Just look at how smooth that movement is now. It's a heck of a lot better. One of the things, like I say, I've not got the thrust or the throttles, but I have got the ability to increase thrust. I've just not got the ability to decrease it. So, and I've also not got brakes. So obviously the addition of braking power would be ideal. I can do it now actually while we wait. There's not really many switches on it. I've used a spare switch for throttle up, but the throttle down, so the flaps up and down switches are taken, the trim switches are taken. I've just programmed the other one, autopilot disconnect, the push to torque. So in terms of braking, I don't even know if that would be workable on a I don't know if that'd be workable on this or not, or on the thrust throttles, or if you need to buy a pedal set as well. Fully functional. It doesn't work on the other planes properly with the switches, so I have to try and figure that out. It does work on the propeller planes, as expected. Cambridge traffic, Golf Romeo Tango Victor Tango is taxiing to runway 31 left via Juliet and uniform. Okay, great. Let's get going. I'll have to use the parking brake, I think, for braking on landing. The Xbox controller is a little bit better just because it has more, not better, but it's certainly more functional with the buttons. There's a lot more buttons, as you know, on the controller than a yoke. And also, you have integrated rudder steering, so there's no need to worry about that either. The only thing I think to slightly make it easier is just to zoom out ever so slightly, or maybe look down a little bit so we can see the flaps, and then switch the flaps to power down rather than flaps. That would make it a little bit better. Okay, that's Julia. So the differential braking on this has also been improved. It's not slamming the brakes on now when you make a turn. It was doing it before, but it takes a lot more effort to do it. So they seem to have improved it. Excuse me everybody, they're taxing all over. This is why I don't like grass runways. Grass airports, sorry, grass parking. It's very difficult to get around in the Cessna. And it's a lot more difficult without that Xbox controller, I can tell you. Rudder control, we don't really have it properly. We don't have braking, so let me just adjust it one more time. So there's flaps up and there's flaps down. We could do throttle down on that. I'm going to change it to throttle down just for the time being until I can get the actual throttles. So we've got T, we want to throttle down a bit for engine 1. So that's up. Yes, that might be a lot better. It just means we don't have flap control. We have down, but we'll have to put the flaps down manually. And of course braking's still an issue, but we'll better controlled with the thrust up and down feature. Here we're going to cross this runway. We're going to go straight across onto uniform. Strobe lights. I'll stick the strobes and navs on. We are still classed as VFR surprisingly, but the weather's absolutely awful. The yoke makes it a heck of a lot easier. It's such a fantastic yoke as well, high quality. I'm so glad it came. The company's done a good job on delivering it relatively quickly. Actually, the overnight shipping on it. So look forward to that. I might do I'll do the review Friday, I think. Just get it out of the way quickly. Right, flaps set to 10. Random light there in the middle of the taxiway. I think this might be a grass runway as well. It's going to be a bumpy takeoff, this is. So we've got a grass runway departure, so let's go ahead and backtrack runway 23. Left. Yeah, grass runway. A random piece of concrete going through. It looks like a road they got going right through the runway there. Odd choice. As the end of the runway, let's make a U-turn and we'll get taken off relatively quickly. I hope there's no traffic in the area. Wind squawk, transponder to altitude. Yeah, correct runway. Just about to see what I assume is letters or numbers. Yeah, so just about reached the numbers of the runway. We'll face into the wind as much as we can, which is a slight crosswind. We'll just do a quick magneto check. More concerned about the RPM drops. Let's put about 1000 RPM. You can see the magnetos. Not much drop there. On and off. Golf Romeo Tango Victor Tango Cambridge traffic departing VFR to the east, runway 31 left. Let's get going. Landing lights on, taxi lights off. Slight crosswind from the northwest there. Rest runway, just keep that pressure off the wheels. A lot of rudder needed, quite a strong crosswind. Okay, that's 50. Rotate. Nice positive rate climb there. Usually have the gear up at that point. So it's 3,000 feet. Climb at 65 roughly. I think it's a bit too slow in the 172, so it's probably about 75 realistically. I think I'm not too sure. The aircraft I've only flown, wow, I know a bit about the Cessnas, but the 172 is a bit different from the lighter aircraft. Okay, we're en route, pretty much following that plan that we've got written in the FMC or the GPS, taking us there to the south. So we'll go straight over the centre of London, it looks like. We'll follow that all the way there, so let's get the flaps up. And we'll increase that speed a little bit. Landing lights coming off. Really bumpy weather today. London is looking really rough. This can't be VFR, I don't know what it is, but it's sending us up there. We'll just make, as I say, we'll make direct to Silver. It's only a VFR flight, we're not really obliged to follow this since it's more of an IFR. As soon as we get to 3,000, hopefully it'll stabilise as well. Hopefully I can break through those clouds a little bit, because at the moment we're right in the thick of it. There's no one near us. Obviously, there's traffic in London, but there's no one in our immediate vicinity. It's giving us a higher cruising speed than we're going to be able to do. I mean, it always gives me ridiculous speeds to cruise up from Simbrief, especially on the 172. You can barely get up to 100 cruising, I found on the game at least. So you really have to have a lot of throttle in there, a lot of RPM in order to get those 100 to 120 cruise speeds. It's quite difficult. I usually tend to hover about 90 to 100 on the airspeed indicator. If the weather permits, I mean it's looking a little bit clearer now, but if we had ATC and the weather permitted, I might say climb a little bit higher, but obviously we're going to control the airspace area, so I think, you know, above 3,000 is probably pushing it, and then I think ATC and other air traffic will be around 5,000 feet plus, unless we're on approach, of course. Sort of breaking through it. So let's go ahead and level off. Trying to remember what my key binding is. I use about 2200 just because it's a little bit bumpy. Of course, trim to keep that nose in place. Okay, time to cheat. Let's get the flight directors, or at least the altitude hole on. What do we want? We want navigation and altitude. And we'll let it settle in. London traffic, Golf Victor Tango, 3,000 feet. There's no one on Unicom either, so it's a little bit concerning. I don't know what the navigation's doing. It should be following the GPS. We got it selected? No, we haven't. So always be sure to select GPS on there in order to follow the flight plan in the FMC. I was going to say it's a nice VFR flight, but we can't bloody see anything. We can't see London, unfortunately. Hopefully that'll change a bit later on. Still classed as VFR though. It's not very nice at the moment. Please feel free as well, go VATSIM radar, which is VATSIM of course radar.com. You see all the live traffic available on the network. Might have been better off flying up north in Manchester because they've got a London area control for the northwest. They've also got ATC on at Manchester Airport. It seems quite busy actually. There's a few GA aircraft up there too. Let's crank the panel lights up, that would help. You know, better visibility there. So don't need the glare shield, but we can choose to have it on or not. Ah, brilliant, it's clearing up. This is that weather we were looking for. Just as we skim the outskirts of central London as well, just there to the east, southeast. Absolutely beautiful. Unfortunately, we can't go very high, but it'd be ideal to be up there at the top, wouldn't it, and just be cloud surfing. I have looked online for some private jets, but there's not much available. If you did join me for the flight last night, thank you. You've probably heard me talking about it. There's a few options for the private jets. Obviously, I've got the C560 now, which is the XL. There's also the option for things like the 525 and the Embrium Phenom 300, which looks pretty good too. So there's definitely more options there for add-ons, and of course the new yoke and soon to be throttle addition to the setup. And hopefully I'll be able to put the stream video on, so you'll be able to see me control the new yoke. Although I'm still trying to figure out how to add a border to it. Okay, quickly checking in. So we got someone on London Santa Control 127.105. They may be outside their vicinity, although London Santa usually covers quite a lot. So let's get tuned in so we know what we're doing. They may give us directions, they may not. We are on a VFR flight. It's just a courtesy. I always say it is. So check in with them. So 127.5. Can't hear anyone yet on comms. Maybe it's just come online. Remember, VATSIM dash radar will give you all the HC information.
Right, up here, Alpha Sierra, the fence flight of 9 and 0.
There we go.
Not 0 to Alpha Sierra.
Yeah, any doubts about the airspace? Of course, we're in London airspace, but any doubts about who's controlling it? It's a shame that he wasn't online earlier because we're about to leave his airspace, which is fine. He'll probably pass us back off to Unicom. London Centre. London Centre, good day. Golf Romeo Tango Victor Tango. Flight level 3000 for Bath VFR flight.
Golf, Victor, Tango, London, Chilla, hello, what did you require service?
No service at the moment, just wanted to check in just in case. Golf Victor Tango.
Golf, Victor, Tango, Roger, just inform you, it's outside control airspace at this time, so you don't have to call anyone, as long as you remain outside here.
Okay, great. Is that 3,000 feet or is it up to 5,000 feet?
So the current block goes to 5,500 feet, so you can climb up to 5,500 without talking to anyone. But of course, make sure you've got your charts handy because the next block just directly in front of it is like 4,500, so just be careful.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Golf Victor Tango. Great, so let's go back on Unicom. That's really handy to get that information. So obviously charts will give us that information as well. He's referring to things like Navigraph and Jefferson charts. But basically we're allowed at 5,500. I was always under the impression it was 5,000. So 5,500 or as he's just said, there's a recent, there's an area coming up which is about 4,500 feet. So we technically we can climb, and you know what, I am going to climb. One of the cool things as well, more hot air balloons in X Plane 12.2. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's get the autopilot disconnected. I'm going to climb to 4,000, maybe 3,800 just to be on the safe side. We want full thrust, full prop, full power. Try and control the view. We'll just stay on course for Bath for the moment. Got Boscombe down there. Southampton. I mean, we could always change our flight plan. We could always go to somewhere like Southampton. That's outside of London airspace, technically. London Centre covers up here. And then London South obviously covers this area. There's Boscombe. I'm trying to find Bath. Bath is, I think, over there. Kemble. Okay, it's a little bit harder than I thought. Doesn't matter. That's 3,900. Let's go ahead and level off. We'll have the speed to build up and reduce that thrust. Throttle down to about 2,200 again. And of course, trim. Echo Golf Golf Delta, so that's destination. Looking at runway 27 and the ICTAM 1 Bravo arrival. We don't really need to follow that because it's VFR. We can probably just join. I'm only following it really as it's come up as a suggestion. That's one thing that's a sim brief can't do actually, is it can't give you VFR clearance, in the sense that it can't give you you know, clearance to depart for VFR, because it always gives you route to follow. Usually would not have that. And then the alternate airport, we got two alternates. And we go back to the flight plan, ICTAM 1 Bravo again, we don't have to follow it too much. Let's just go direct to the airport. I'm going to check the chart in a second. I don't usually show you guys charts or things like that, but you can find them online completely free. There's a source called ChartFox, and that will come up with everything you need. Okay, so we had 1017 QNH on departure. And 1020 at Bath Airport. As you can see there, we're going flaps. I don't know if this is the correct model on SimBrief, but it's given us flaps 40. I think 30 is the maximum on the Cessna. Or it may be 40, I may be just getting mixed up with the model. Anyway, ILS, we can use an ILS if we want, but we're all visual. 10.15 in case. Okay, so the checklist I downloaded for the Cessna is actually pretty good. It's got a normal checklist, which you can continue. As you can see, normal, abnormal, emergency, and a README file. Keyboard shortcuts, normal checklists. So we didn't really go through it because it was basic checklists you can do though. Taxiing before takeoff and all that line up. Maybe we can do the cruise and descent checklists. We've checked the weather as far as we can do. It's looking pretty sunny, we can see it outside. Anyway, let's go back, let's check the abnormal and emergency checklists. Okay, short field takeoff, so that'll be like where we were with the grass runway, and it was pretty short to be fair. We did have flaps 10, so we did it pretty much accurately. Short field landing as well. Engine failure during takeoff roll, so very good checklists in here. I'll have to do a stream where we deliberately cause an engine failure on approach and then run through the checklist. It's got a lot of system failures. I wonder if it's got engine failure on landing. No, it doesn't. So check that. Right, that was abnormal. Seems like the same kind of thing. The closest we have would an engine fire in flight for the approach. So it says the fire is not extinguished. Same information. And we read the README one. Okay, relatively strong winds there, 13, 14 knots. We're just about to leave London airspace after passing RAF Benson. Remember, it's Echo Golf Golf Delta, so here's the airport. Oh, that's Bristol Airport. Maybe I haven't chosen Bath as I thought I had. Unless Bristol's just like the closest one to it. Yeah, so Echo Golf Golf Delta must be the airport for Bath, and then Bath, of course, there's Barrow. Bath Racecourse, so we're relatively close to the centre. Okay, we've peaked in viewership again, so thank you everybody for support. Best way to let me know you've enjoyed it or you're enjoying this kind of content, of course, is to tell me and to suggest whatever you want to see in the future. Maybe you want to see some engine failure procedures, or I don't know, something a bit more exciting, maybe a thunderstorm, approach, takeoff. Again, the engine failure, system failures would be a good one. Piston aircraft or jet turbine, jet turbofan, it's your choice really. X Plane seems to have a good combination. You can see there, ETA 31 minutes. 31 minutes till we reach Bath. There's the arrival for... well, that's an arrival we can take. I've just gone direct to the airport to save a little bit of time there. We are VFR flight, so we can choose a... If we want to, we can choose a procedure which is appropriate for a VFR flight. An NDB might be a good one, although that's still an instrument approach, isn't it? And same with an RMP. Radio navigation, let's do that for runway 27. And we'll use the GPS, vectoring in. Where's that going to take us? So that's going to take us, hopefully, to... down there to Elrov. And then, of course, the runway. So yeah, not bad at all. I'm not keen on the Garmin system, but it is what it is. This is definitely a better design though, and a smaller one than I've seen in things like Flight Simulator X, which is ancient now. Well, this is quite an old system as well. The new Garmin avionics look a lot better, and they're usually touchscreen, so it saves a lot of space. Let's go ahead and tune the NDB in. Give us a little bit of reference, hopefully, on the instruments. You see down there the NDB arrow is moving. I'm going to set it to the heading that we're on. Descending now to 2,500 feet, keeping clear of the airspace and height restrictions. Even though we're outside of London airspace, we've still got to take into account the rules. 2,500 feet seems satisfactory. I think that may be, I was going to say that may be the sea, but it's just the low level cloud there, the fog. So this is a power descent, power on descent. As you can see, we're maintaining our speed, getting about maybe about 500 feet a minute at 1800 RPM, or 1750 RPM. So there it is. Let's get the power back. And we'll trim again. I'm going to turn. I've got the nav lights on and the beacon on. Usually in a Cessna though, you wouldn't really have the strobes on. I don't know about. I mean, it's the daytime. You wouldn't really have them on for a VFR thing. Well, that's my experience anyway. So I'm going to turn the strobes off. I'm going to keep the nav lights on and the beacons on for now. Fairford over there on the right, Oaksey and Campbell. Heading into another RAF base. There's a lot of RAF bases in the south of England. Of course, we've got to overcome that wind as well, which is a concern. I mean, runway 27 is going to be pretty much straight ahead of us, so it'll be a straight in. We're unlikely to encounter any traffic. I got somebody on London South Centre. That may cover us, it may not. It's just a guess. Sometimes it's a guessing game of who covers who, but we're outside of London anyway, so you don't need to be too concerned. If we did want to fly back from Bath to Cambridge or to that area, yeah, but we set off from Cambridge. If we wanted to go back, we would have to contact ATC. Well, I suppose we wouldn't unless we needed services, but I'm just thinking if we go back, we could climb back up to about 8,000 and then receive a bit of guidance for landing. If you are coming on to the network, London ATC is online, as always London North, so you'll be covered all from the north to the south of England, pretty much, if you're a commercial jet. "16 nautical miles, ETA 11 minutes. Pushing about 2200 RPM, 2100 RPM on there. Let me rephrase that correctly. 2200, and then we've got a +1 there, so it's more like 22.1, 2210. Double check the systems. The one thing I noticed with the yoke, you'll notice that with the Xbox controller, when I used to trim the aircraft, it would move the trim feature on the yoke. Now I have a yoke and I use the trim feature, it doesn't actually move it. So I'm guessing they're kind of counting on you hiding the yoke because you've got your own. But it would still be cool to see that. I think there might just be an X Plane integration thing that's not put in there. Anyway, T's and P's are all looking good. Fuel's going a bit low. EGT's good, fuel flow's good. We could have leaned the mixture a little bit actually to save some fuel flow there. Let's try and lean it, let's try and get it a little bit more efficient. Although we're pretty much nearly done on the flight. So you see the EGT will rise and hopefully the fuel flow will decrease. Don't want to do it too much, otherwise you cut off the engine. There you go, fuel flow is decreased, we're going to be burning less fuel per hour. Just makes it more effective and more cost efficient. And EGT is the exhaust gas temperature. There's no limit, it doesn't seem like there's a limit there. It's very rare to go up to that red bit. There it is, there's Bath / Bristol in the distance, I hope. 6 minutes till landing, we're not far. So leaning the mixture also caused us to speed up because we're making the engine a little bit more efficient. We don't need as much thrust to do that. It'll also probably increase the RPM as well. Just to prove the yoke does have functioning buttons, it works. You can see the functions are there, but those are only on the Cessna 172 and the like propeller planes. It doesn't function on jets. If you do want to see the review, I'll be doing a live review on Friday, and we'll go through it then. Course 266 for the runway 27. LNAV is on, so is vertical navigation as well. We've not got an arrival, we've got something programmed in, and it's just the arrival so far for the runway for the RNAV approach. But in terms of ILSs, there's nothing nothing programmed in yet. We're just going to go radio navigation. We've got the NDB, as you can see it's slightly off, so that means we're on course. Now you could change the, actually that's the wrong one, change the NDB things, it's pointing the right way on your heading. As you can see, when it's slightly off like that, that means you're in the correct direction, but we're not doing an NDB approach today. Keeping an eye out for the runway in the airport. It's finally gone back to what I'd call brilliant VFR conditions. We were barely covered earlier. Just for the sake of having fun, let's go ahead and get the autopilot disconnected and let's fly the plane a little bit. So I haven't, I'll test it on Friday, but I haven't been doing too many steep turns in the Cessna, although it's the yoke has got a 180-degree bank angle, which will make it easier to make those turns. You can see the input is pretty much precise, meaning it's happening when I'm putting the input in, so it's very accurate. You can change the sensitivity, of course, although it's pre-programmed pretty well, I'll have to say. Just bearing in mind it takes up a lot of desk space, so you may want to consider a bigger desk like I'm considering, or push your monitor and keyboard out of the way at least, because the clamps and the unit itself is about, I'd say, about a foot long. It feels like almost a foot long, not even kidding. Okay, we're maintaining our current heading, current altitude. What do we need to do? So let's do a pre-landing checklist, or descent checklist. There's no readout on this. It is an X checklist, by the way. Climb, cruise, descent. We've checked the weather, it's looking pretty good. QNH. We programmed it in? No, we haven't. So you can check Habitat for the QNH on the departure page and the arrival page, so 1020. Let's go ahead and program that in. And next item on the checklist, power, yes, as required. Let's get that mixed to rich again. Drop the EGT down, increase the fuel flow. Trim, well, we don't need to bother to yet, we're pretty much trimmed, almost straight and level. CDID keys, select navigation source, select VLOC, although there's no, we're not going to be using the localizer. Exterior lights. So far we've only got beacons and navs. I did turn the strobes off and approach briefing, so this is a lot easier than the 737 in terms of the checklist, that's for sure. Passenger briefing, seatbelts were already secured in place. Fuel mixtures, fuel selectors both. Airspeed, so we'll be landing about 65 to 75 with flaps up if we don't have flaps, but we need flaps of course, so full flaps is going to give us between 60 and 70 on the approach, which is not far away actually, we've not got long. Kind of waiting for the airport to appear in sight, and then we can get a bit lined up and a bit more established on it. Help if we turn in the right direction, wouldn't it, if we fly the plane a little bit. Anyway, autopilot's off already, landing lights, we'll turn that in a sec. The checklist, you all know it if you've flown a Cessna. From the Flight Simulator X days, of course, when it was peak simulation. So there's the airport. Just to show you again, the landing lights do in fact work on these switches. Okay, good view of the airport. Let's get turned and get that throttle reduced. Only a little bit. We're going to slow down. We're not going to descend for the time being. Try and get down to about 80, and then we'll maintain about 80 knots. So a little bit of slow flight. Although slow flight's probably about 70 knots realistically. Just be aware, I will talk about it more details later on, but the trim, you need to push both servers for it to work. One server at a time is not going to do it, just the same as a real plane. Okay, let's maintain that. A little bit more power. Maintain about 80. 2,500 feet just about. Lined up. Got flaps down. Oh no, I changed it, didn't I? So manual for the flaps. Okay. Aircraft's all over. 10 degrees of flaps. Landing lights on. And we're going to move towards the runway. Very nice. Looks like we're going in the wrong direction, but it's just the wind. You can see the wind there. It's coming in from the northwest. Bristol traffic Golf Romeo Tango Victor Tango is final for runway 27. Calling out final nice and early. And I'm going to reduce that thrust. About 1800. Let that speed drop a little bit and then we'll pitch down for about 70 knots. Remember, there's no brakes on this, so I think we're going to have to rely on a combination of drag and just idling the engine. Unless I switch to my keyboard brakes, which is parking brake is V for it, or B, sorry. And we're maintaining a good 70 knots now. Well too high up though, terrible approach. We've got quite a lot of speed here. I suspect that's because of that headwind. I didn't take it into account. So our ground speed and our headwind speed is going to increase our airspeed overall. So I think it's like 13 to 15 knots. Quite considerable, which is why the airspeed down there is about 80. Anyway, last notch of flaps. Hopefully that'll create... got an issue with the flaps. iOS, no failed systems, maybe it's just a glitch. Can't seem to put another notch of flaps down. I don't know if that's a safety feature. That's not good. Not good at all. 10 degrees of flaps. There's 60, 70. Yeah, that flap thing is strange. I thought you could do it manually. It's just it won't extend it down anymore with a mouse control. So it looks like 10 degrees for landing, which is not good. 2 pumpy lights, white and red. We're doing fine. Nice landing into Bristol Airport from Bath. Hard touchdown. Let's go ahead and taxi off. Because you notice that the yoke controls the steering as well, which is sort of handy. No, God, that's not a taxiway. What we're gonna do? No panicking. So landing lights, taxi lights. Strange, yeah, I'll have to check that flap thing after. It might be an issue with the mouse rather than the game. Golf Victor Tango, Bristol traffic clear runway 27, taxi into parking. Where is parking though? That's a good question. Major airport, we probably should have picked a small one for a general aviation aircraft. I'll assume it's down there, down Zulu. Can't see much else on the right. And transponder to standby. Let's try it without the yoke in place, see if people enjoy it. At least that way it makes me feel like I've got the yoke in my hands. Well, London Centre's just come online, tell me to contact them. Although, to be fair, they've been online the whole time and they hadn't contacted me, so I don't know why they just did. I was outside of London airspace, so there's definitely nothing to be concerned about. We haven't done anything wrong. Let's go ahead and park up here wherever we can find a spot. He wants us to contact him, but we're pretty much on the ground already. To 7830. We'll give him a call, but we're pretty much sliding off at this point. And we'll park there. So you can hear that stall warning because we're facing into the wind. That's really realistic, actually. I've never noticed that before. Idle the engine, or a little bit. Eight 830. 830. Let's see what he wants. Taxi lights off. London Centre Golf Romeo Tango Victor Tango checking in at Bristol Airport.
Amazon 913, expect ILS approach 23 right.
Sorry, could you repeat Amazon 913?
Amazon 913, expect ILS runway 23 right.
I don't know if London Centre knows what's going on. He's probably messes the wrong person, to be honest.
Easy 2 Quebec Yankee, monitor Unicom. Unicom on X 2 Quebec Yankee. Speedbird 34 Golf Hotel, monitor Unicom.
I think he might have...
Bristol.
Let me give him a call back. Golf Romeo Tango Victor Tango, you sent me a message.
Yeah, you're taxiing around with no flight plan, sir, so please file a flight plan.
I have a flight plan. I filed one early. We just arrived at Bristol. We just landed into the airport.
Roger, in that case, sorry, monitor Unicom break. Amazon 913, flight heading 0.
Okay, so this is partly why I'm not too keen on the London ATC on VATSIM. I mean, like the other controller, there's one controller that's really great, and then there's controllers like that who got no idea what's going on. So he thought I was taxiing around without a flight plan. I mean, obviously if I completed the flight, it's going to come as being completed. Well, we'll leave him to think about that. Let's shut down the plane. He made himself look quite silly then, but that's London ATC for you sometimes. As I say, one of them's fantastic. So there's a few on there though, really quite not tolerable, but it's better to fly in other countries anyway. So we want avionics off, transponder standby, avionics off, navs, holy mixture. We get the beacon lights, you can see it's all changing down here, magnetos, alternators and batteries. So yeah, the yoke I think is fantastic. What a good flight to do in the Cessna as well. It just shows you the level of realism that can be achieved. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this VFR flight. Apologise about any problems at the beginning, and I hope to see you for the review on Friday, same time, 1:30 PM for GMT time. My name's Grantham. Have a great week.